Ranganathan, Sanjay Dixit, author and former IS officer who's a signatory to this petition, is with us. Tehseen Poonawala, Ashutosh, senior journalist, are with us. Dr. Ranganathan, on the basis of this petition and the widespread outrage which is shared by perhaps a wide number of Indians, perhaps even in the majority, should the top court issue a clarification at the very least, or at the very most expunge these remarks? Dr. Ranganathan, if you can hear me.
Yeah, sorry, I did not realize the question was asked to me. Yeah, good evening, Rahul. Look, a couple of days ago, I gave 6 reasons why I thought the verbal order, if I may say so, by the 2 honorable judges of Supreme Court was completely out of order, pun not intended. And you only have to hear the open threat by the caretaker of Ajmer Sharif Dargah today to behead Nupur and mortgage his house to the person who beheads Nupur, to realize the catastrophe the Supreme Court judges have brought upon us. I'm glad that other than the IS officers or police officers, it is the slew of ex-judges that have spoken against these 2 judges. But I would have honestly preferred had sitting judges also expressed similar outrage. Rationally criticizing a judge or a judgment, Rahul, is as important in a democracy as praising him. Predictably, some chauthi failed leftists and darbaris are bringing up my old quote that I said in context of Prashant Bhushan in light of my criticism of Supreme Court judges, that I quote, "There are only 2 kinds of people in a democracy, one who respect the judiciary and the other who think they are the judiciary," unquote. I stand by this quote. There is no contradiction or hypocrisy on my part. Let me explain very briefly, just a minute. Number 1, it is perfectly all right to disagree with a judge or a court judgment while at the same time respecting the judiciary. I have done it multiple times myself, and Rahul, I dare say so have you. The first time I did it publicly, I recall, was as far back as a decade ago in 2012 when I was really critical of the Chief Justice of India, Altamas Kabir, I think his name was, saying that ideas can be punished. I have since disagreed with another Chief Justice when he snootily packed off Abhijit Iyer Mitra to jail for 40 days for merely being sarcastic. I was critical of the last Chief Justice when he stayed the farm laws and refused to remove illegal blockades. Being critical of a judge or disagreeing with a judgment, especially one that is not a considered, written, bench-derived one, but rather a verbal utterance that ultimately doesn't go into an order, is not thinking that one is the judiciary. Sorry. It is simply being critical. I have on multiple occasions praised the judiciary too when they merit. Number 2, what I do not do, Rahul, is what these communists and anarchists and darbaris do. Cross the boundary every single time a judgment is not to their liking and slander the judge with vile, unproven accusations of corruption, nepotism, blackmail and quid pro quo. Sure, you must be allowed to, in my view, get away by calling the judiciary, the legislature, the executive and the press as corrupt. Because corruption is an overarching subjective label, as morality and ethics are also attributable to it. However, when you single out a judge and accuse him of quid pro quo through cash or kind, that is defamatory. When you defame Justice Chandrachud by bringing in the legacy of his father who had to apologize in the wake of the Loya judgment, when you attribute quid pro quo in the wake of the Ayodhya judgment, when you incite people to pour onto the streets in the wake of the Narmada judgment, when you hail Justice Divani as a hero after he overturns the trial court acquittal of 3 Hindus in the Viramgram riots case and convicts them, but call him a shameless BJP stooge and a villain when he acquits Kodnani, when you do all this and more, you are not respecting the judiciary, you are becoming the judiciary. I trust the difference is clear now, even to these chauthi fails and darbaris.